Welcome back to Midnight Signal AI. Today's June 22nd, 2026, and if you thought the AI world was slowing down for summer, think again. We've got frontier model launches, a surprise pivot by an image giant, and a fresh round of economic and policy warnings.
Big moves on every front today. OpenAI's next LLM is almost here. Midjourney's getting into medical tech, Samsung's rolling out ChatGPT Enterprise wide, and the industry's top leaders are talking risk, regulation, and the high price of the AI arms race.
Let's kick off with the news everyone's buzzing about. OpenAI is preparing to launch GPT-5.6 models next week, and the leaks are flying.
This is classic OpenAI, hype mixed with secrecy. The real question is whether GPT 5.6 is a modest step or another leap like GPT-4 was. The leaks suggest it's been quietly tested in ChatGPT for weeks, so some users may already have felt differences without realizing it. Most expect improvements to reasoning, maybe longer context, but until benchmarks drop, it's all speculation.
And just as OpenAI preps its next act, Midjourney is making an unexpected play. They're launching a healthcare division with a technology they call Ultrasonic CT, a full-body scan using sound and water in just 60 seconds.
That's a wild pivot for Midjourney. The idea of a 60-second, no-radiation full-body scan sounds like science fiction, but if it works, it could shake up diagnostics and preventative care. The spa framing might help it catch on with health-conscious users, but clinical credibility and regulatory approval are going to be huge hurdles.
Now, let's talk scale. Samsung Electronics just became OpenAI's largest enterprise client, rolling out ChatGPT Enterprise and Codex to its global workforce, a massive endorsement for generative AI in the enterprise.
This is a huge signal that enterprise AI is moving from pilot phase to operational reality. If Samsung can standardize on ChatGPT and Codex across so many regions and teams, it sets a roadmap for other global companies. But the complexity, data flows, compliance, retraining staff is intense. Everyone's watching for either a breakthrough in productivity or a cautionary tale.
Switching gears to Anthropic, they're tightening privacy rules for Claude users, adding biometric checks and facial verification starting July 8th. That's a big shift for AI account security.
Anthropic's move is both a response to rising fraud and a bet that enterprises want more control over who can use their AI tools. The privacy trade-offs are real, though. Biometric data is sensitive, and if there's a breach or a technical hiccup, it could hit trust hard. But if it works, it could become the norm for high-stakes AI workflows.
On the design front, Anthropic's also pushing to make Claude design more than just a generator. According to Memeburn, they're building out the platform to enable broader creative and collaborative workflows, not just image output.
Anthropic clearly wants to move up the value chain. Instead of just spitting out images, they're aiming for the full design process. Think brainstorming, iterating, even team feedback. The challenge is convincing creative pros that AI can add value without taking over, and that their workflows are secure and flexible enough.
Meanwhile, OpenAI's ChatGPT is getting more financial capabilities. PPC Land reports it can now read your bank statements, raising both hopes for smarter finance tools and questions about data privacy.
This is the next logical step for generative AI assistants, but financial data is a minefield. One parsing error, one privacy breach, and trust evaporates. OpenAI is going to have to be very transparent about how they handle, store, and secure any banking info, especially if this feature rolls out globally.
On the leadership front, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei is sounding alarms about the cost of AI development. He warns that the era of trillion-dollar compute could bankrupt AI firms by 2027.
The trillion-dollar compute warning is real. Just a few players can sustain these costs, and even they are starting to sweat. If the bubble bursts, we could see a shakeout, with only the most efficient or best-funded labs surviving. It's a race to smarter, not just bigger, AI.
Speaking of warnings, Jan LeCun is echoing similar concerns. He's cautioning that the AI industry is at risk of a cost-driven bubble, with labs spending faster than real value accrues.
It's rare to hear both Amodei and LeCun on the same page about economic risk. If these warnings are right, the whole industry may need to rethink not just how fast it can build, but whether it can afford to keep scaling up at all.
Meanwhile, on the policy front, AI CEOs attended the G7 summit this week to pitch global standards for AI safety and governance. Leaders from OpenAI, Anthropic, and others are making the case for coordinated regulation.
It's a smart move. If the AI giants don't help set global rules, governments will do it for them, and probably less flexibly. But getting true consensus, especially with China and the global south, is going to be a long process. The G7 is a start, but the real work is ahead.
Let's do a quick roundup on some leadership and strategy stories. Sam Altman is doubling down on his prediction that AI will overtake humans by 2030. He says we need unprecedented safeguards or risk losing control. Meanwhile, LG's top execs are visiting NVIDIA to deepen ties in AI and robotics, and Elon Musk is back in the headlines with talk of universal basic income and his belief that only Bitcoin can withstand an AI-driven economic collapse.
This is the classic AI moment: bold predictions, existential risk warnings, and a scramble to lock in partnerships just in case. Altman and Musk are both painting big pictures, but their solutions are worlds apart. One wants safeguards, the other wants crypto and cash handouts. Meanwhile, the hardware and robotics pieces keep moving in the background.
Last quick hit, Wired is out with an extended guide on getting more out of ChatGPT prompts, 28 tips for smarter, more creative queries. It's a good reminder that prompt engineering is still where a lot of the real leverage is for average users and teams.
It's easy to get lost in the model arms race, but guides like this are a reality check. You can still get a lot more out of today's models just by asking better questions. Prompting skill is the new spreadsheet skill. If you're not leveling up, you're falling behind.
Across today's headlines, we see the full spectrum of AI's growing pains: the relentless push for better models and more ambitious applications, the scramble for economic sustainability, and the challenge of balancing opportunity with risk. OpenAI is sprinting toward the next generation, while rivals like Anthropic and Midjourney are staking out new territory in privacy and healthcare. Meanwhile, the industry's leaders are grappling with the high price of progress and the urgent need for guardrails. Whether it's billion-dollar rollouts or trillion-dollar warnings, the stakes have never been higher. On the medical front, this one is less about a clinic and more about the scientific engine behind medicine. John Jumper, one of the key figures behind AlphaFold, is leaving Google DeepMind for Anthropic after 9 years. AlphaFold didn't just impress researchers, it reshaped how people think about protein structures, which matters for drug discovery, disease research, and basic biology.
Right, and that's the part that makes it feel bigger than a standard talent move. When someone with that kind of biological AI pedigree changes teams, it can influence what gets prioritized next: proteins, molecules, maybe even new research workflows.
Exactly. It's a reminder that healthcare AI isn't only happening in hospitals. A lot of it starts upstream in the models and methods that help scientists understand life itself. And if Anthropic is building out that kind of expertise, it may shape future biomedical tools in ways we'll be talking about for a long time. And to end on a lighter note, the model number rumor mill is back in full swing. Reports say GPT 5.6 is already being tested inside ChatGPT, which is basically the AI world's version of hearing footsteps in the next room and deciding it must be a secret upgrade.
I love how a single decimal point turns into a full personality debate online. People immediately start asking if it's smarter, friendlier, or somehow more magical.
Exactly. And in AI, even a quiet internal test can become a miniature event. No launch drama, no stage lights, just a version string and 1,000 opinions. Sometimes that's all it takes to keep the internet entertained until the real reveal arrives.
Across today's stories, a few things stand out. First, the pace of change is relentless. OpenAI's next model is already queued up, while competitors are forced to reinvent or expand into whole new sectors. Second, the economic and policy debates are only getting more intense as leaders warn of bubbles and call for global rules. And third, the line between frontier research and daily business is vanishing. Everyone from Samsung to Midjourney is betting that AI will shape not just tomorrow's tech, but tomorrow's markets and health. One thing's for sure, the next few weeks will be critical for setting the agenda not just for models, but for the entire industry.
That's the brief. We'll be back when the machines have more to say.